For today's Peter Pan adventure, we're going to the ballet. The Peter Pan Ballet, of course, performed by Ballet West. And since I have the perfect dress, why don't you hang out with me for a while so we can prepare my Tinkerbell Disney bound and chat about the ballet. If you're new to the Peter Pan at-home adventure series, please visit the intro video here, and then come back by finding this video in your history lineup. And yes, you can Disney bound to the ballet, just like you can to the parks. This ballet is one of the many versions of the original Peter Pan story by J.M. Barrie. And you should know that it's not the Disney version. What? You might be surprised to find out that there are other versions of Peter Pan. And this one is actually a little bit more true to the original novel than the Disney version is. And I'm adding some warm elements under my Tinkerbell dress because it's still winter in Utah, and that's more true to me. The choreographer for this production of Peter Pan is Trey McIntyre, and his version of Peter Pan and the Lost Boys is a little more feral than we're used to with Disney. Sort of like these socks, they're pretty wild. I was hoping to find a green that would match this dress, but did not happen. However, I was really looking at the Tinkerbell socks that I used for the Captain Hook pirate party, because Tinkerbell would absolutely wear something with her image on it, indeed. But I'm afraid we are going to go with white socks because the star of the show down there is really going to be the shoes. Second star to the right. And sadly, since people don't dress for things anymore and I'm gonna be pretty dressy, we're gonna casual it down there and it'll be perfect. My favorite part about this ballet is that they actually fly the actors. I've seen a sneak peek and I'm really excited. And I'm also excited about having something even warmer on my person. So we're adding this slightly sparkly infinity scarf, and we're going to make it part of our outfit. Doing good. And I don't mean fly like the aerial silks that I do. You can check out the video up there with the Peter Pan aerial silks pose I did if you like. What I mean is they are hoisted into the air so they don't have to hold on anything, and they can literally dance while they're flying. For accessories, we're gonna go with a white bag to match all the white. I was using this one in the past with this dress. What does this fit these days? My phone will not even fit there. We're gonna go with this and hope my phone fits in there. Ballet productions aren't the first to fly their actors. That actually started back with the Broadway musical of Peter Pan back in the 50s. Now, to be Tinkerbell, I need something sparkly.
Just a little bit of pixie dust.
And I was gonna go with this shimmery body glitter. I have no body showing, there's no body. So we're gonna put this sparkly gold thing in my hair to make Tinkerbell's bun. And I'm not doing any jewelry. Something like this would be way too noisy for a ballet. I can't wait to see this ballet. I love dancing. Well, movement really, to be more exact. I'll give you my quick history with dance while we do my nails and hair, and then we'll get on to the ballet. I took ballet as a kid and loved to dance until I was around 13, according to my scrapbook. Then enter band, and movement was lost to me until I was almost 40 years old. The first thing that got me back into dancing was ending up in a musical with my daughter. I was doing all kinds of things I had never done before, and it was amazing. The next year, I started group fitness classes at a gym and began taking a yoga fusion class called Body Flow, which I still adore to this day 12 years later, and will continue to take until I am no longer physically able. The following year, I turned 40 and discovered aerial silks. I took silks, flexibility, and other miscellaneous classes here, and discovered performing as a hobby. Right after I started silks, I got to dance in another musical that I actually auditioned for, and it was a hoot. Can you guess it? That same year, I bought a rig for myself to do silks at home. And then I switched studios and took silks and yoga classes here. And then for 2 years after that, I fell into teaching aerial and group fitness classes. I started teaching that yoga-based body flow class here, then also started teaching a bar class there. Then at my aerial studio, I started teaching classes. Then I moved to teaching them here, and then I added teaching a flexibility class here. I switched to teaching a different bar class here. And then I realized I was exacerbating the spine, neck, and hip issues I've had since childhood, and my body just couldn't take the strain, and I stopped teaching almost everything a year and a half after I started and went back to physical therapy. After I stopped teaching silks classes publicly, I began holding a weekly one at home for friends, so I didn't lose my skill completely. The one remaining group fitness class I taught was brought home by COVID and died off after switching to an online format for a few months. I went back to just taking group fitness classes again, and I still have the home silks class over 6 years later. And if you're curious, my back and hips are still a hot mess. But with the help of these classes, I've been able to walk Disney the past few times instead of needing a wheelchair. You can see my latest physical therapy adventure in my Ready to Walk Disneyland series, which you can check out right here. Well, here we are, my version of Disney's Tinkerbell in winter. I've got the pixie dust on my eyes and fingers, and look, I even found a better pair of leggings with some sparkles on it. And did you see? I've got the little Tinkerbell puffs. I think that's the magic touch to make me feel like Tinkerbell today. Are you ready to go to the ballet? Let's head out. We're here at the beautiful Capitol Theater in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm sure you've been to enough live productions to know that I won't be able to record the performance, so you'll have to go yourself. But Ballet West was generous enough to not only grant me some footage of the show to share with you, so stay tuned, but to also allow me a personal interview with their artistic director. Let's learn some things about this production of Peter Pan, this ballet company of Ballet West, and ballet productions in general, and take a glimpse at this visual delight of live performance. And do note that all the orchestral music I've used in this video are the same songs written by Edward Elgar that were used to choreograph this ballet, and that you'll hear performed live by the Ballet West Orchestra when you go see it yourself. They close February 21st, 2026. Adam, welcome to Disney Adventure Hub. Everyone, this is Adam Sklute. He is the artistic director here at Ballet West, and he is the one that brought Peter Pan to the Ballet West and the beautiful Capitol Theater here in Utah. So, Adam, I'm not sure if you know, but Disney Adventure Hub, mainly Disney content. We do in-park adventures around Disneyland, but when we can't be in Disneyland, we do at-home adventures.
Oh, fun.
And so this is part of our Peter Pan themed adventure.
I love it. That's great.
Very good. So I'm very excited to be here, and I'm super excited for this production of Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Because, as I understand it, the actors get to fly.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and do they ever?
Well, I have some great questions about flying.
Sure.
So let's see what we've got. The ability to fly performers for Peter Pan has been around since the Broadway musical in the 1950s.
Yeah.
How have the capabilities of the technology and the options for movement changed since then?
Wow. Well, certainly as technology grows and broadens, the abilities that they can produce on the stage grow and broaden. But I should start by saying that we are working with the same company that did the original 1950s flying effect.
I was wondering.
That is the famous Flying by Foy,
Oh, yes.
and they are still the company that oversees almost all the flying in the world.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for stage flying. So they worked with the stage production of Peter Pan, and they are working with us as well. Now, even for ballet, though, it's changed a bunch. When we last did a ballet that had some flying effects, we used manual work. So what Foy would do is they would come into the theater, they would train the crew and bring their own personnel to figure out how to manually fly people.
Oh, wow.
This production of Peter Pan, it's all computerized.
Oh, amazing.
Which is incredible, both for consistency, but also for safety. So for so many reasons, the flying effect is both safer and more consistent now. Now, when Foy comes in, they only have to train the dancer because they bring their own technician who oversees the computer. So the technician works with our stage manager who would say, okay, Peter flies now, and a button is pressed and Peter flies. And then there are different safety mechanisms with how fast Peter comes down and those sort of things. So it's really, really improved a lot.
Wow, so they used to have to train stagehands as well as dancers?
You bet.
Oh, this is so much better.
Yeah, indeed.
Technology certainly is amazing.
In this respect, it has helped immensely.
Yeah, oh, fantastic. Well, let's see. I remember watching the Broadway musical with Mary Martin doing the Peter Pan pose thing.
Yeah.
I don't suppose Trey McIntyre, who's the one who choreographed this ballet, added that movement in just for grins?
It's not exactly there. You know, Trey's version really goes much further back to the original J.M. Barrie stories in a way. And so I think he has his own unique take on Peter and on how he tells the whole story.
Right, okay. Tell me about the process that you use to prepare the dancers to fly. Now, they're not used to being in the air for more than a couple seconds. Now this is something totally different for them.
Yeah.
How do they feel about that? What do you do to get them used to it?
It's fascinating. So we spent almost a week in the theater before we even went into the full stage rehearsals, just working with the 6 or 7 dancers in the production, in any given production. So it's actually 14 that we actually worked with who had to fly. Now, dancers are trained to be very in control of their bodies and very in control of every motion and every movement. Flying, you actually have to do something almost the exact opposite. You just have to relax and give it up to, in this instance, the computer telling you when to go. And so it was a very strange feeling for a lot of the dancers at first. And dancers who are very used to saying, my body is going this way, all of a sudden had to be lifted this way.
Right.
And then what happens is there is that just sort of wild card where sometimes things will spin slightly in a direction that they don't expect. This is where dancers had to learn how to be very in the moment and improvise. If all of a sudden they were expecting to turn this way and they turned this way, how do they act, you know, and how they do it? So on the one hand, because dancers are so highly trained in how to work their bodies, this worked a lot smoother than, let's say, the ordinary person. However, on the other hand, it was extremely difficult for them to just allow their bodies to be moved in ways that they weren't expecting to be.
Right. I understand that. I do aerial silks.
Okay.
And I teach people, and sometimes what I teach them is what to do when something goes wrong.
Right. Right.
Did you have any kind of practice
You
like that?
bet, you bet. What's really hard, I mean, we will have 5 dancers flying at the same time. They're all on a different track on the stage for safety's sake, but every once in a while there might be a little bit of overlap just because of a motion that we can't control. So we had to spend a lot of time figuring out how they would manage if they collided accidentally and how to do it. And these things have happened, and you learn how to just make magic out of it, even if it's a mistake.
Right, yes, absolutely. Well, that's the important part, I think, about being a performer.
You bet.
Is what do you do when something goes wrong?
Exactly.
Well, let's see here. You already covered flying by Foy. That was one of my questions.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Have you done any other productions that fly dancers, or is this the first one?
No. We actually do many, many productions. Our annual production of The Nutcracker, Clara and the nephew fly away at the end.
Oh.
But you can speak to our dancers. It's like night and day how different it is. This is just one simple flying this way. In this production, they're spinning around and they're moving all over the stage. So never have we done any type of flying that is as extensive as this. Our production of Dracula has a lot of flying. Both Dracula and some of his vampire brides fly as well. So no, we've done a lot of flying, but again, never like this.
Oh, well, I am excited to see it for sure. Well, let's talk about the production a little bit more. Peter Pan has only been made into ballets since the 90s, maybe, which makes it quite a young ballet. Do you find that Utah audiences gravitate to the newer ballets versus the older ones like Swan Lake Are we open to that?
You know, I have to say, Utah audiences are some of the most theatrically sophisticated audiences I have ever experienced and worked with. And I've been in this business for a long time and worked in a lot of different places throughout the world. And I'm really always impressed with Utah audiences. Utah audiences love the classics, they love the traditional work, but they also love, love, love new and untried things. And one of the things that's so fun about Peter Pan is that it's something they've never experienced before. So audiences are flocking for that reason, but they're very sophisticated, so they know what they're looking at.
Right, oh good. Well, that kind of brings me to my next question. Not a lot of people know that Peter Pan isn't a Disney origination.
Yeah.
So do you get audience members who are surprised that it doesn't look like Disney, that Tinkerbell doesn't have the fluffs on her feet and whatnot, and are they okay with that?
You know, I think everybody comes with their own expectations, and I think that what's wonderful about it is that if you grew up on the Disney production, you will recognize plenty of things in this story. On the other hand, it is quite different because it's a ballet and because it goes to the source material, the J.M. Barrie story, in a different way than the Disney story does. So I think most audiences are very intrigued and fascinated by the similarities and the differences. You know?
Yeah, oh fantastic. I can't wait to see how different it is and
Yeah.
how similar it is. There are several other Peter Pan ballets out there. Has Ballet West ever done another Peter Pan production before?
Yes, indeed. Actually, in the mid-1990s, Ballet West produced a different version of Peter Pan, very different. In fact, that one was much closer to the Disney production insofar as how it represented the dancers on stage. It was a wonderful production for Ballet West, but I'm really excited that we're doing this new and a little more complex ones. This one is, I think, great for children because it's fun, it's fanciful and magical, but it's also great for adults because it's got a deep emotional heart to it.
Right. I saw some interviews with Trey McIntyre, who again is the one that choreographed this, and it was interesting to hear him talk about how he wanted the characters to look and behave differently than maybe the Disney versions.
Yeah.
And I'll be interested to see how that translates on the stage.
Yeah.
That's fun. So why did you choose Trey McIntyre's Peter Pan?
Well, I think in many ways, for the reasons that I had just mentioned to you, is because this is a ballet that really can appeal to everyone. You know, it is definitely perfect for children and for families, and so on that level, it's great, come one, come all. But I wanted something that also could speak to the ballet aficionado, and so there's some hard classical dancing in there as well, and also something that would speak to those people who want a sort of deeper theater experience, and there's that as well. So it worked on so many levels, and that's why I think I loved this particular production, Trey McIntyre's Peter Pan.
Oh, good. So we talked about the story. Tell me about the costumes for the production. How are they different from the Disney movie that people are familiar with?
Indeed. So these costumes were designed by the late Gene Button, who had a great history on Broadway and with television. These are wildly fanciful. They're almost abstract in some places, in some ways, but also definitely tell the story. So Peter is, I would say, much more like the character that is described in the original book, where they say he had a flaming mane of red hair. So of course, it's almost like he has a lion's hair, you know,
like
because it's just, yeah, exactly. Or the fact that the Lost Boys, you know, just are just a grungy bunch of kids, you know, and everything. But all of them, they're just magical, fanciful, at times over the top in the most theatrical way. And that's, I think, what I love so much about it.
Do the costumes for productions travel from theater to theater, or does each theater make their own costumes?
Yeah, good question. So we own a lot of our own costumes. We build a lot of our own costumes. We also build costumes for companies around the world as well. So it's very, very different. But at times, we will also rent costumes from other companies. This production is owned by the Houston Ballet in Houston, Texas, where the ballet was originated. And so we rented all of the sets and the costumes. However, the set fits a different stage, so we had to retrofit it a little bit for our stage, and the costumes always have to be adjusted and modified for each of our dancers versus the dancers where it was made originally for.
Okay, right. So the set will travel and the costumes.
Yeah.
And
For this particular production.
Right.
In other productions, we actually use our own that we've built, or we build new, or other companies might rent from us, or we build for them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So did the flying technology travel as well, or is it specific to your theater?
So the flying technology it's very interesting. You know, the ballet was first made in 2002, and back then the flying was still done manually. So over the last 20 years or so, a little over, Trey has worked with Foy to computerize all of this flying. Each flying is basically the same set choreography, but it has to be slightly modified for each unique theater that it's being performed in.
Okay. How interesting. So does Trey work individually with each ballet company? How is the choreography learned, taught?
Yeah. So first, Trey brings in a stager. This is an individual whose job is just to stage the ballet, meaning to set all of the choreography, to show the dancers the steps. Then Trey came in and worked with us for 2 weeks, where he coached the dancers on their theatrical intent, how to physically do a movement that he wanted in a unique way, and very specifically on the flying. And he does that a little different from company to company and dancer to dancer, because every artist is different. And so he's a very interesting choreographer because he really knows how to tailor make his work uniquely for each dancer that's performing it.
Oh, how neat. So what we see today is going to be something different than what he did for Houston? Or
Basically, I mean, if you saw it in Houston, you would say, yes, this is the exact same ballet, but this move might be ever so slightly different, or with a slightly different accent or look on our company than it would have been in Houston.
Okay, fantastic. I think those are all the questions that I have. Is there anything that you wanted to add, Adam?
I just think this has been such a fun ballet for the company. You know, I mentioned that it's hard technical dancing, so that's always a good challenge for them as artists, but it's also so wildly theatrical that they've just had so much fun, and I hope that the fun that the dancers are having on the stage pours out onto the audience, and that the audience experiences that same fun.
Oh, I can't imagine that it won't.
Oh,
thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing the production.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy, and thank you.
And an amazing production it was. Not only was the skill and execution of the dancers unearthly, but the story itself was fun, funny, and sublimely enjoyable. And the theater is just lovely. I do have to say that I was also impressed with how many people in the audience did dress up in more than jeans for the ballet. Good job, Utah. I hope you had fun going to the ballet with me today, and let me know in the comments if you end up going yourself. Make sure to subscribe to be notified of future videos in this series, and check out the playlist to find any you may have missed. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you in the next adventure.